Hey people, you might not have noticed in that last movie from the small thumbnail, but that was Thor that was on the front there with his hammer, and the big nose has to why you taught how, and they interpret this as the knowledge of the Son of God. And it was the other words in there that was putting this picture in my head. But I told you I was going to read that out of context. Even though I know all these lines run in, and you really can't break this poetry up, If I try to put something in perspective, I end up going to the beginning every time, and I forget why I even wanted to stop and make a movie here. But after I did that, I went back and looked at this, and there were some other things in there that made me think of Thor. But this made me think of an old guy, old sailor, and he grew up on shrimp boats and in the swamp, and went to prison for killing some people, and come out with an engineer's license, and worked on a dive boat with me. Really shady character. The kind of guy that you go out drinking every day with, but you didn't want to get too drunk with him. And so he was telling me this story about when he went to prison, and he saw his buddy Jojo. And Jojo has some good stories too. But this is not a prisoner. This is the prison, and this is what the old lady says: you weren't worth a damn anyway, And the goodism is in the cure. Good place for you, That's a good cure. And so when you first get there, they march you in. It's for a call of onomas. Hey, that bitch is mine. For a call of onomas. And he said he looked over his shoulder and he saw his buddy Jojo. And Jojo put a shank in his hand because he knew he was going to have a hard time in that Mississippi State prison. And for a call on them as the good ism, the ism yas in, good place for yas, a cure, the I omega, reads as a E, the C-U-R-E, a cure, and at says the same thing, E-S, the at is A, the good place for you at is a peri of fate said is a peri, not to walk, to be surrounded. A peri of fate said is a call is has. The judge, the call. Everybody gets the calling when they go to jail, but the judge already has the call is has. I have the call. What I said is a clidit has been attached your file, and you have been sentenced to prison. A pair of fate said is the judge is a clidit. And a cliditum with a metapossessed Afrogen is. A metapossessed Afrogen is. That's a Afro. You in Mississippi State Prison. You're there with about 98% black, probably. The Afrogens. And a meta and with a possessed fiend. That's somebody who was that was a soul put in the wrong body. A meta-possessed fiend Afros in. A black transformer. A frauditaz. Not a Fraulein, but a frauditaz. A gentleman. The gentleness. The frauditaz. Macrodamus. The macro in the big damus in the big house. And your new roommate is a big old meta-possessed fiend Afrosian is a fraud. It has metamacrodamus, in the big house. Of, in the N reading is a bet, a V here before the E. Of each in all, and the second L reading is a Y, and all yell of in. All yell of in. They're all hollering a gap, through the gap in the door, through the gap where your lunch is coming from. A gap is, a food is on this a tree in, the 3 in, THREIN, 3 in, and this reading is a DEV, the N before the E, a divinati. A divinati is of, is not it of a divine. The divine and not it. A not it of upon whom it is into a syndismo. A bond, a syndom, to burn them together, they're getting hot. The syndism, desire, the hot, the syndism, the hot, the burning hot is desires. And this ness finishing on here, it's not just, desireness, but it's letting you know that this is the serpent. This is the serpent in the tree, in the 3rd chapter of Genesis, ness, and the desire in this. And it's letting you know, this is of the serpent. And in them, in one body. And then when it gets to this one over here, they don't know what word to use for one. In, and you see here that also means into in the same line. And then mu, they give one here, and then one is his, and mu, and in, and his. I think there's 6 different words here they use for one just across here. But this is enzim, and I'm go up inja, and enzim. And enzim when, and enzim when pon whom God as Godos nuts, and clit it, and attach it. One body and one spirit, just as also a clit it, or enzim when upon whom God as we clit it, we attach it in. Mu. And so mu doesn't necessarily mean one, it means more of high water. It means 3 ends, 3 waters, the high water mark. And it's just the name for the first day of the year, is where it gets the one from. But this is the one who you're going to trust. And it's the, and in them, and it reads as a W, we will fight it is, we will trust him, and we will tell him everything. Your lover. And in we'll fight it is, the call is has, the judge on. And his a carry as, you see how it's spelled different now, and it's a carry as one. And a fist is in, holding hands, in the baptism, gonna take a bath together. And this A and this E reading as a ES. And this is where all your words with assist come from, and ESIST, and assist has. And everything was resist, that's the base of that word, assist has. Your number 1 is your first assistant. And so all this comes from an ancient stage play called The Sopranos. You see it stashed in this next paragraph. It's hidden up in this word they're teasing. They'll spell a little different every time. But it's having ascended and went down is anibus and cotibus. Then they'll spell a little different with an E here, and so it's changing, that to a B instead of the N. And then it's going to spell the lower and descended a couple different ways. The kataba is a worm that only goes down. Just means going down. The moth lays an egg on a leaf. Bug eats the leaf and goes down a tree and goes to the ground. His whole life is going down into the lower regions of the earth. The kataba. And so the kataba, his job is just to go down and dig a hole in the ground. And the cat, the cat is always sitting under your chair. That's where they getting that lower from. That's a different cat. But it's spelled again different. The kataba's going down and having ascended the anubis. But the ones who have ascended above all, those were on of soprano, having ascended above, on of a soprano, and fond on to now, ran on, and happy that he is on top, and fond on to now ran on, now ran on. The heavens always has to do with time, an hour on, and the now ran on. In a flourish it, and growing healthy and full, in a flourish it upon to. And also one having ascended above all the heavens, so that he might fill all things, and on of a soprano, singing above all, fond on to now ran on in, the fond and liking it now ran on in, a flourish and filling and grows healthy, and a flourish it of on to. I'm gonna cut this off here. Good day.